The small gas station stood alone on a desolate stretch of Route 46, a faint glow against the vast, dark horizon. Maya had been driving for hours, her mind swirling with thoughts from a day that had tested her patience. The thought of refueling her tank and grabbing a drink before the last leg of her trip brought her some relief. She pulled her silver sedan into the station, the tires crunching softly against the gravel. The warm summer air greeted her as she stepped out, the faint scent of gasoline hanging in the stillness. Maya adjusted her backpack strap as she started the pump, the quiet hum of the machine blending into the silence. Moments later, a distant rumble broke through the calm. It started as a faint murmur, but quickly grew louder, vibrating through the ground and sending a ripple of unease down Maya's spine. She turned slightly, her heart skipping a beat as she spotted them. A group of 5 bikers rolling into the lot. They parked in a neat row, their machines glinting under the fluorescent lights. Each rider wore a leather vest adorned with symbols and patches Maya didn't recognize. She kept her movements measured, avoiding eye contact as she focused on finishing her task. The tallest of the group, a man with a wild mane of hair and dark sunglasses, dismounted first. He exchanged a few words with his companions, their laughter echoing in the empty lot. Maya glanced at them briefly but quickly averted her eyes, her grip tightening on the pump handle. As she replaced the nozzle and secured her gas cap, she noticed their laughter shift. It wasn't just loud, it was pointed. Maya squared her shoulders and headed toward the station's small shop to pay. The sound of boots on pavement followed her, each step deliberate and heavy. Inside, the cashier, a young woman chewing gum and scrolling on her phone, barely acknowledged Maya. A flicker of unease passed through her, but she brushed it aside and paid for her fuel. With a cold bottle of water in hand, she stepped back outside. The bikers hadn't moved far. The leader, the tall man with the wild hair, leaned against his bike, watching her with an intensity that made the hair on the back of her neck stand up. His companions mirrored his posture, their gazes sharp and unrelenting. "Evening, sweetheart," one of them called out, his tone dripping with mockery. Maya didn't respond. She kept her steps deliberate, her eyes fixed on her car just a few feet away. "Not even a hello?" another added, his voice filled with feigned disappointment. Her fingers tightened around the water bottle, but she didn't look back. She slid into the driver's seat, locked the doors, and placed the key in the ignition. The group, however, didn't disperse. Instead, the tallest man approached, his boots crunching the gravel with slow, deliberate steps. He stopped by her window, bending slightly to meet her gaze through the glass. Maya hesitated but rolled it down a crack, her heart pounding. "You lost, darling?" he asked, his voice smooth but edged with malice. Maya met his gaze without flinching. "No, just passing through." The man chuckled, shaking his head. "Passing through our town? Doesn't work like that." The others laughed, their amusement bouncing off the empty lot. Maya gripped the wheel tighter, her mind racing for a way out. One of the bikers tapped her trunk, his knuckles rapping lightly against the metal. "Maybe she's shy," another said, his grin wide and mean. "Or maybe she's got someplace better to be," the leader sneered, leaning closer. Maya's voice, calm but firm, cut through their taunts. "I'm not looking for trouble. Let me be on my way." The leader's smile didn't fade, but something in his posture shifted. He straightened, his confidence still palpable, but tinged with curiosity. "Trouble's already here, lady," he replied, his tone sharp. The laughter from his crew faded slightly, replaced by a tense silence. Maya kept her composure, her eyes steady and unwavering. "You've got 2 choices," the leader continued, his voice softening but losing none of its menace. "You can stay here and chat with us, or you can make this real interesting." Maya's mind worked quickly, weighing her options. She reached for her phone, but before she could grab it, the leader slammed his hand on the roof of her car. The sound reverberated through the still air, making her flinch. Ah, he said, wagging a finger. "No calls, sweetheart. This is just between us." Maya felt a surge of anger beneath her fear. She rolled the window up slightly and turned the key in the ignition, the car's engine roaring to life. The leader raised an eyebrow, surprised but not deterred. "You think you're leaving?" he asked, stepping back just enough to give her room to maneuver. "I know I am," Maya replied, her voice steady. Her defiance seemed to catch him off guard. The other bikers exchanged glances, their smug expressions faltering. Maya shifted the car into reverse, her foot hovering over the gas pedal. The bikers didn't move, but she could see hesitation creeping into their movements. She waited a beat longer, then spoke through the slight crack in her window. "Move," she said coldly, "or I will." For a moment, no one moved. The tension in the air was palpable, the bikers weighing their options as Maya's resolve stood firm. Then, slowly, the leader signaled to his crew with a tilt of his head. They stepped aside, their bravado dimmed by her unwavering stare. As Maya drove away, her heart still pounding, she glanced in the rearview mirror. The bikers remained in the lot, their figures shrinking into the distance. She gripped the wheel tightly, the adrenaline coursing through her veins. She had faced their game, and she had won. Maya's hands gripped the steering wheel tightly as she sped down the empty road, the glow of the gas station fading into the night behind her. Her heart pounded in her chest, a relentless rhythm that matched the roar of her car engine. She stole a glance at the rearview mirror, half expecting the rumble of engines to erupt behind her. But the road remained silent, stretching into the darkness like a lifeline pulling her towards safety. She exhaled deeply, her breath shaky but controlled. The adrenaline that had propelled her through the encounter began to ebb, leaving her hands trembling slightly. Her mind replayed the moment she had stared the leader down, her voice firm and unwavering despite the fear that had threatened to consume her. For the first time in what felt like hours, Maya allowed herself a small, defiant smile. She hadn't just survived, she had taken control. As the miles passed, the road began to change. Trees lined the highway, their shadows playing tricks in the moonlight. The isolation that had once felt unnerving now brought her a strange sense of peace. Each mile added distance between her and the bikers, but it also brought clarity. She wasn't the same person who had pulled into that gas station hours earlier. Maya spotted a rest stop ahead, a lone diner glowing softly in the darkness. The sight of a neon, open 24 hours sign felt like a beacon, welcoming her back to a semblance of normalcy. She pulled into the parking lot and cut the engine, sitting in the quiet for a moment. The cool night air greeted her as she stepped out, and the sound of distant crickets filled the silence. Inside the diner, a friendly waitress greeted her with a warm smile, handing her a menu. Maya settled into a corner booth, her mind still buzzing with the night's events. She looked out the window, watching as the stars dotted the sky, and let out a long breath. The fear, the tension, and the bikers' mocking laughter, all of it seemed so far away now. Maya realized something profound as she sipped her coffee, its warmth grounding her. Strength wasn't about avoiding fear. It was about facing it head on. And tonight, against all odds, she had proven to herself just how strong she truly was. Maya smiled to herself, the weight of the night lifting. She wasn't just a survivor, she was a fighter. The open road awaited, and she was ready to embrace it.